Hello, Internet. So, you can do anything you want. Have you ever heard of that? Has it ever driven you completely up the wall? How it tells you can do anything, but it does nothing to help you decide what to do. Well, I've heard it, and that's how I've felt. But what if I told you it's not as bad as you think? But before I do that, I should welcome you to the Empirical Sword. I'm Lore Master DLC 79, and I happen to believe that school doesn't teach. We have to be the masters of our education, because unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are just giving up on education and because of their horrible experience in the school system. A system that really isn't designed to teach. It just trains you to be factory workers and then babysits you until you're old enough to go work in a factory. But yeah, what I want to do with this series of videos is to show you that you are smarter than you think, by showing you the things the school should be teaching but isn't. And the truth is, it's not all that complicated. So, how is this phrase, you can do anything you want, not as bad as you think? Well, first of all, why does it even feel bad? We should really rewind in time to find that out. See, back in the old and medieval days, people had no choices at all. None. If you were born a farmer, I mean, if your father was a farmer, then you're a farmer. If your father was a carpenter, then you're a carpenter. And people were kind of miserable because it's like their lives were on rails from the moment they were born. But society advances, and eventually people get more freedom, and they get more choices, and people are more happy. So more choices equals more happy, right? But get to around the 20th century-ish, all of a sudden we get to this point where we can do anything we want. And people aren't happy with that. It's like, what to do? I can do anything, but what do I do? They call this the paradox of choice. More choices equals more happy, up to a point at which point more choices equals less happy. And really, I think it's the phrasing of the statement that causes the problem. You can do anything you want. It stresses the anything. And yes, I'm stressing it on purpose to point out that the statement itself stresses the anything. What if I were to rephrase it for you? You can do anything if you want it badly enough. Notice the difference. If you want it badly enough. If you want to be a doctor badly enough, you will go to college. You will enroll in a pre-med curriculum. You will study anatomy and physiology and medicine and microbiology and immunology. You will study all of these things. Then you will, and if you continue to want to be a doctor badly enough, you will get into med school. You will get an internship. You will get licensure. If you do not want to be a doctor badly enough, eventually that path will be stressful and you won't want to do it. But maybe you don't want to be a doctor. Maybe you want to be a writer. If you want to be a writer badly enough, you will get in the practice needed to write better stories or to write better articles or to write better textbooks. I'm weird. I like the textbooks over the fiction, but again, I'm weird. And yes, there will be naysayers who say, oh, well, you can't do that because you're not good enough. Ignore them. Ignore them. I mean, yes, your ability to actually do anything depends on whether or not you're good at it, but if you want to do it badly enough, you will get good at it. Nothing can stop you from getting into practice, because that is the key to getting good at anything. See, people will want you to believe that you're born good at something, and that's what you're supposed to do. Nobody's born good at anything. Nobody. Everybody has to get good by practice. If you want it badly enough, you will get the practice. And if you get the practice, you will get good enough. The question is, at what point does the practice become tedious or mundane or frustrating or stressful? Once you hit that point, you've maxed out your wanting it badly enough. If you don't want it badly enough to get past the frustration of the practice, then you don't want it badly enough to do that. So, then the question is, how do you find out what you want badly enough before you get too far into the practice? And a lot of that is self-assessment. And again, I'll point out the personality types, the personality typology. Know your personality type. Know what sets you apart from other people. And know what frustrates you. For me, it's monotonous tedium, like the editing or the writing descriptions or the doing the keyword research, which I'm not doing as I should be. I need to work on that. But if I had to do that all the time, I would not be able to do a job. In fact, here's a little story of mine. I believe I told part of this story in a previous video, but throughout most of my college career, I wanted to do something in laboratory research. And in college, it was fun. And I spent a lot of years trying to, after college, I spent a lot of years trying to get into a professional setting of actually doing laboratory work for a living. And, well, there are certain things about job hunting that the school system doesn't teach you. I would do a video on that, except I don't think I know quite enough yet. But I mean, looking back on the things that I had to do as actual laboratory work, the doing experiments infinity times over the same way every single time, and keeping logs of, okay, this measurement is this measurement is, I added this much, and this measurement is this, and measure this number, measure this number, measure this number. Okay, now I have to do math. Yeah, equals that, equals that, and then typing it into spreadsheets and then getting graphs. And I don't think I would have enjoyed it, really, because it's that type of tedium that really frustrates me. I mean, the abstract thought and the understanding the mechanisms and the machinery involved in all of the chemical and biological reactions and cell signaling and all that is fascinating to me. But actually doing the laboratory work is frustrating. So it's probably actually better that I didn't get into that sort of field, because I would have hated it, and I don't even know if I would have gone to YouTube as a creative outlet. Maybe I would have, maybe not, I don't know. I mean, it's parallel timelines. Anything could happen. But yeah, bottom line, you can do anything you want, but don't think of it like that. Don't think of it like that. Think of it like this. You can do anything if you want it badly enough. And if you want it badly enough, you will get the practice to be good enough to actually do it. At least as a living, well, maybe not. I mean, maybe you just don't want to do it for fun. Although you do need a source of income. That is a thing in society for some reason that I haven't quite figured out. It's tradition. Yeah, notice the face of confusion. I'm looking at, I saw my face on the screen, and that, yeah, confusion. But it's always been that way, and I don't think money is going anywhere anytime soon. So you need a source of income. But you figure out what you want badly enough, and part of that is figuring out what frustrates you. Because if you know that something involves a lot of things that are going to frustrate you, then that's over here. Those are the things you don't want to do. Maybe. I mean, there are no real definites here. A lot of this is like self-reflection and understanding yourself, understanding what makes you tick, what your personality type draws you to, and what frustrates you, and that sort of thing. It's you can do anything you want if you want it badly enough. It should inspire you to go figure out what is congruent with the way your brain works. That is the bottom line. And the truth is, choice is good, because there was a time in history when we had no choices at all. So in a world where we actually can do anything we want, provided we want it badly enough, that I don't think we can get any better on that front. We've kind of peaked here. Let's not backslide, please. But yeah, if you like this and you got something enlightening out of this, and maybe this caused you to think about something in a new light, or maybe inspired you to actually learn more about yourself, then share this with someone who might be in a similar situation. Let's not be selfish. And yeah, this is the sort of thing that I do in this series. Again, trying to draw attention to things that schools should be teaching, but shouldn't, but isn't. The things that we need to live and survive life, as I like to call it. And yeah, I do this by trying to get in front of video gamers with video game content. Maybe you've seen some of that. And I try to lead them here to the more educational content. And if that's something that interests you or you want to support, then subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified. And whichever video you're watching next, I will see you then.